So before we jump into things today, if you are finding these deep dives valuable, please just take like a quick 15 seconds to follow the show in your podcast app and hit subscribe if you're on a platform that uses it.
Yeah, it really genuinely helps us keep bringing you these breakdowns.
It does. And you really do not want to miss what we are tracking right now. So speaking of which, let's start with a highly anticipated update on the whole Martin Stevens versus OpenAI legal situation.
Oh, man. The tech and legal worlds have basically been holding their collective breath on that standoff.
They really have.
Yeah.
And as of right now, there is a voluntary quiet period in effect.
Right.
We can actually confirm that there are absolutely no settlement discussions on the record. And, perhaps most interestingly, Stevens' infamous dead man switch remained completely unactivated.
Wow. So the tension is just, it's still very much there. The dispute is totally ongoing.
Exactly. Which honestly makes the timing of today's deep dive almost surreal.
It really is. Like the perfect setup.
Yeah. Because today our mission is to examine this brand new development where Martin Stevens ran into like the exact same structural customer service hurdle, but this time with Google.
Right, which is just wild.
It is. It's remarkably similar to the billing glitch that ignited his massive legal battle with OpenAI over, a mere $20. But this time around, the outcome was drastically different.
Totally different.
So we are exploring how an automated refund loop tests the absolute limits of consumer protection law, and really how one company's human intervention managed to avert what could have been a multi-million-dollar disaster.
Yeah, it really serves as kind of a masterclass in how modern corporate billing policies are designed, right? And why they fundamentally break down when you apply them to nuanced human problems.
Exactly.
And, what happens when an immovable automated system meets an unstoppable, highly informed user?
Right, an unstoppable force.
Yeah.
So let's lay out the catalyst for this whole dispute. Basically, Stevens was using a relatively new tool called Google's Notebook LM, specifically the audio overview feature.
Which is pretty cool, honestly.
It is. For those of you who haven't used it, it basically synthesizes your uploaded documents into this surprisingly realistic audio discussion.
Yeah, but it is also incredibly resource intensive on the back end.
Oh, totally.
Like when you ask that system to generate an audio overview, it allocates a massive chunk of server processing power to handle that complex large language model inference.
Right.
So from the perspective of the automated billing and like the quota system, those resources are spent the exact moment the request hits the server.
And that back-end mechanism is exactly where the problem starts. Because according to the incident report, the generation failed on Stevens 3 times in a row.
Ouch. 3 times?
Yeah, it just spun and produced absolutely nothing. And then on his 4th attempt to get the output he, actually paid for, the system just lucked him out entirely.
Wow.
It generated this hard stop message claiming he had exceeded his daily allotment.
Right, because the system's quota counterlogged his failed server requests as successful usage. It's a classic desync, right? Between what the engineering backend sees, which is basically compute power being burned, and what the user actually receives on their screen, which was nothing.
Nothing at all. But, Stevens actually acknowledges that systems occasionally get it wrong. He pays for an upgraded tier specifically to avoid these kinds of restrictive lockouts.
Right. He's paying for the premium experience.
Exactly. So he reaches out to Google support, requesting a very basic remedy, just a 1-month refund or a credit for the failure of the service.
Yeah.
He just wants to be made whole for a product that did not work as advertised on that specific day.
Seems totally reasonable. But then he gets a response from a support rep named Czar.
Right, Czar.
And honestly, whether Czar is a human using macros or just a fully automated system is almost irrelevant here, because the response is just this standard form letter.
Total boilerplate.
Exactly. They offer to process a one-time courtesy refund, but, and this is the kicker, they attach a structural ultimatum to this offer.
Right, the catch.
Yeah, they state that if his Google One membership is refunded, the membership will be canceled immediately.
Okay, let's pause and look at the gravity of what we can call the refund loop trap. Because Czar's email outlines immediate, severe consequences. I mean, Google One isn't just access to a premium podcasting tool.
No, it's an interconnected ecosystem.
Right. So if Stevens accepts that $20 courtesy refund, he instantly loses access to his expanded cloud storage.
He loses the ability to back up his files.
Yes.
He can view files he already has in Drive, but he cannot edit them or add new ones. And, crucially, If his current Google Drive usage happens to be over the free 15 GB limit, his Gmail service gets totally crippled.
He literally will not be able to send or receive emails.
Exactly.
Just think about the last time you tried to resolve a minor billing issue, right? Imagine going to a hotel front desk to complain that the air conditioning in your room is broken and you'd like a partial credit for the night.
Right, a normal request.
And the manager says, well, we will gladly refund your room rate as a courtesy, but our computer system requires us to immediately wipe your key card, locking you out of your room with all your luggage still inside, and you have to sleep on the street tonight.
That is a brilliant analogy.
I mean, is it really a courtesy if the mechanical process of accepting it completely sabotages your life?
No, it's not. But it highlights a deep, deep flaw in how megacorporations build their APIs, their application programming interfaces.
How so?
Well, billing software at that scale is usually designed in pure binary, just to prevent database errors and fraud. So, active subscription equals a specific digital entitlement token. Refunded subscription equals a revoked entitlement token.
It's just ones and zeros.
Exactly. The architecture simply does not know how to accommodate the concept of, a penalty paid by the company to the consumer for a service failure, while simultaneously maintaining the ongoing contract.
Right, but I have to push back here a little bit. Google has billions of users. If they manually reviewed every $20 refund and bypassed their own billing APIs, they would need a support team the size of a small country.
That's a fair point.
Isn't an automated binary system the only way a company of that massive size can practically operate?
Well, you do need automation to survive at that scale, yes, but an engineering constraint does not legally override federal law. You cannot build a system that violates consumer rights just because it's cheaper and easier to program in binary. And that friction, that exact friction between engineering efficiency and the law, is what Stevens recognized.
Because seeing this exact same refund loop is what triggered his multi-million-dollar lawsuit against OpenAI over a mere $20.
Yep, he saw the pattern.
He saw the pattern, and his response was nuclear. He replied, demanding human supervisor intervention in all caps. He explicitly warned them that they simply used a form letter twice, and he demanded a manual override.
Right. He draws a very deliberate line in the sand here. He explicitly points out to Google that OpenAI made this exact illegal violation.
Oh, yeah?
And it resulted in him demanding between $10 and $99 million purely because the delay gave him time to investigate and basically turn their own system against them.
He's literally telling Google, do not fall into the same trap.
Exactly.
But Czar replies with yet another polite, system-driven response, just stating that under the current policy, once a refund is processed, the associated benefits are automatically removed as part of a system-driven process.
They are completely hiding behind the architecture of their own software.
Yes, which prompts one of the most fascinating tactics in modern consumer advocacy I think I've ever seen.
Oh, this part is brilliant.
Stevens realizes he is just talking to a brick wall. So he takes the exact emails from Google support, feeds them into Google's own artificial intelligence, Gemini, and asks the AI to outline the specific laws that Google's internal policies are violating.
It's incredible. He weaponizes their own multi-billion-dollar AI against them.
He literally writes to Google support, know this now. Your system is not loyal to you and can legally be weaponized against you. It has access to the law.
Which creates this unbelievable paradox, right? The engineers built a billing system that violates consumer protection laws because they code for database efficiency.
Right.
But the large language models are trained on the entirety of U.S. case law, Westlaw, LexisNexis. The AI literally knows the law better than the engineers who programmed the billing API it runs on.
Let's actually dig into the legal breakdown Gemini provided, because this is where the rubber meets the road. Gemini mapped out 3 distinct legal arguments against Google's refund loop practice. The first pillar was breach of contract regarding the paid-for service period.
Yeah. So the underlying principle here is temporal delivery. If you pay for 30 days of service and you experience a failure on day 15,
right?
A company cannot grant a refund to correct that specific error and then retroactively strip away your access for the remaining 15 days you legally already paid for.
That makes total sense, because if they cut off your service immediately, well, it takes, what, 3 to 5 business days for the refund to even process through your bank?
Exactly. You are forced into a period where you have neither your money nor your service.
Okay, so that covers the financial transaction itself. But what about the hostage situation with his data? I mean, did Gemini find a legal counter to them essentially holding his email account hostage for a Notebook LM glitch?
It did, and it's actually a much more severe violation. Gemini cited Section 5 of the Federal Trade Commission Act,
The FTC Act.
right, which prohibits unfair or deceptive acts or practices. It's commonly known as UDA.
UDT, okay. But how does a clunky automated refund system qualify as deceptive or unfair under federal law?
Well, the AI argued that hiding behind a system-driven restriction is legally tenuous.
Interesting.
Yeah, stating, our system automatically removes benefits does not absolve a corporation of its statutory obligation to treat consumers fairly. The unfairness comes from tying unrelated critical infrastructure like Gmail to a discrete product failure in Notebook LM.
Right, those are two totally separate things.
Exactly. Abruptly cutting off a consumer's access to business emails simply because an administrative billing correction is occurring, that causes substantial injury that the consumer cannot reasonably avoid. The computer made me do it. Defense holds absolutely zero weight in a federal regulatory framework.
Wow. And the third pillar Gemini outlined draws this fascinating parallel to the Fair Credit Billing Act, or the FCBA.
Yeah.
While that act mostly regulates credit card issuers, the AI pointed out that major digital merchants are expected to align with its core principles.
Right, because under the FCBA, if you dispute a charge on your credit card, the bank cannot repossess your car or foreclose on your house while they investigate a $20 dispute.
Right.
Gemini applied that exact same logic to digital goods. Forcing an immediate all-or-nothing technical wipe of a user's data during a billing query is a highly coercive tactic.
Yeah, it really is. It forces you, the consumer, into a psychological corner. You have to ask yourself, do I really want my $20 back if it means I lose my email and file access for 3 days while the system resets?
Yep. It is a structural deterrent. It's designed to discourage you from seeking the refunds you are legally owed.
And Stevens didn't just write a long, angry complaint. He served Google a legally sound indictment, complete with federal citations, authored entirely by their own flagship technology.
It's just wild.
He told them, I guess just like OpenAI, Google thinks it is exempt from the Consumer Protection Act. He even pointed them to his YouTube channel and his books, warning them that he is not afraid to turn a molehill into a mountain.
He really applied maximum pressure. He made it abundantly clear that the cost of ignoring him would far exceed the $20 in question.
Absolutely. And this leads to the climax of the exchange. Because finally, the automated wall cracks.
Yes, finally.
The ticket gets escalated past Czar and lands on the desk of a human product specialist named Astrid.
And this specific moment highlights the contrast that makes this entire scenario so important for us to talk about. We are seeing the exact juncture where OpenAI previously failed and where Google actually succeeded.
Right, because Astrid actually read the escalation notes. She understood the nuance of the legal threat, and she executed a brilliant pivot.
She really did.
She replied to Stevens stating she forwarded the request for a possible refund. Then she added, also, as an appeasement about the inconvenience, we can offer a $1,000 AI credit to your account and offer you a refund for your latest transaction without revoking your plan. You still have access to the plan for a full month.
That is huge. She manually decoupled the refund from the service cancellation.
Exactly.
She stepped outside the binary API and ensured his digital ecosystem remained totally intact while correcting the financial error. This bespoke action perfectly aligned with the exact consumer protection laws that Gemini had just outlined.
Right. And going back to my pushback earlier about the cost of human labor at scale, Google probably spent a couple of $100s in human labor paying Astrid to investigate and manually resolve this one ticket.
Sure.
But that human intervention acted as a very, very cheap insurance policy against a multi-million-dollar class action lawsuit over their automated billing practices.
Absolutely. And they didn't just meet his demand either. They completely exceeded it.
The credits.
Yeah, that 1,000 AI credit appeasement is crucial. They recognized the user was legitimately inconvenienced by a buggy tool, and they over-delivered to make him whole.
And we really have to look at how this compares to the source material on OpenAI. Because according to Stevens, OpenAI was faced with the exact same refund loop scenario. But OpenAI exhibited a rigid adherence to their automated system.
Right, they dug their heels in.
They refused to have a human step in and manually issue a proper refund without nuking his account.
And that stubbornness turned a basic $20 customer service interaction into a massive legal dispute involving like 15 different violations of the law.
It's crazy.
OpenAI let systemic inertia drive them straight into a brick wall. Google, on the other hand, had human support that understood the threat, escalated the issue appropriately, and cheerfully resolved it before a single legal filing could even be drafted.
And you can see the immediate effect of that human touch in Stephen's final message to Google. The tone shift is just staggering.
Oh, it's night and day.
He goes from warning them that they will face consequences to writing back and literally calling Google a class act. He tells them, I am pleasantly surprised not only that you are refunding me without interrupting service, but going over and above with the 1,000 credits.
Sure.
And he says, this is exactly how a business should be run.
Yeah, and he explicitly connects Google's resolution to his own entrepreneurial philosophy.
Right.
He notes that this excellent customer service parallels exactly how he runs his own companies. You know, when you let a customer down, you make it right, and then you take it one step further.
He actually admits something fascinating about the psychology of customer retention here, too. He tells Google that this combination of actions will actually prevent him from asking for a refund so quickly in the future.
Wow.
Because Google stood behind their product, it carried serious weight with him and made him trust the company more as a result.
And that is the ultimate takeaway for anyone looking at customer lifetime value. I mean, we spend incredible amounts of resources automating customer service just to save money on the margins.
Right, a few cents here and there.
But this case study proves that rigid, system-driven policies might save pennies in the short term while simultaneously exposing the company to massive legal risk and utterly destroying customer loyalty.
Exactly.
True human accountability. The ability for someone like Astrid to just look at a situation, realize the automated protocol is violating the law, and manually fix it is what actually protects a company's bottom line.
It takes a molehill that was about to become a very expensive mountain and flattens it out into a paved road of trust.
Beautifully said.
It also proves that as consumers, you do not have to accept the automated computer says no response. The laws governing fair commerce have not disappeared just because the delivery method of the service became a digital subscription.
Exactly. The foundational rules of consumer protection still apply, even when they're hidden behind layers of cloud infrastructure.
Which brings me to a final kind of lingering thought for you to ponder today. We just watched a consumer use a massive tech company's own artificial intelligence to legally dismantle that very same company's unfair billing architecture.
It's like sci-fi.
If large language models are now smart enough to accurately cite the FTC Act and breach of contract to protect a user from their creators, are we entering an era where AI becomes the ultimate democratized consumer protection lawyer?
It fundamentally shifts the balance of power. The average consumer now has access to the exact same caliber of legal synthesis as the megacorporations that are trying to lock them into these automated loops.
It's a game changer. The next time you find yourself trapped by an immovable, automated customer service bot, maybe ask your phone to cross-reference the company's policy with federal law before you give up.
Couldn't hurt.
That is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Remember to follow this show in your podcast app, and please share this with anyone who loves a good David versus Goliath story. We'll see you next time.